Hello, bonjour, Jan here. Welcome to you, or welcome back actually, if you're a sort of a fairly regular viewer, and welcome to anybody who's just found me. Very grateful that if you just found me. Don't forget to subscribe and like, all the usual stuff, because it helps us YouTubers immensely. I just thought I'd have a bit of a catch up with you. Trying to think what's been going on recently. We've had the Galette de Roi apéros. Was it last, not this weekend, the weekend before, we were invited to our neighbours around the corner, Annie and Thierry, and they invited an elderly couple in the same village, and usually us six get together for the Galette de Roi. For those that don't know, it's something that normally you'd have around the 6th of January. And I don't know what's happened, but we was a week late with that, and we wasn't sure if it was even going to happen, because there's been so much flu and that around that a lot of people haven't been well enough to do it. So we've got a knock on the door, and our neighbour came and invited us for that Sunday, which was two weeks ago, nearly a week, just over a week. So basically, we have the Galette de Roi, which is like a tart with lots of layers, like a flaky pastry, as some would call it. Then it has frangipan or something inside it, and what happens is, years ago I know in England you used to have, if you've watched one of my Christmas videos you'll know what I'm talking about now, but it used to be years ago that you'd put sixpences in your Christmas pudding, and if you happened to be the one that had the sixpence in your pudding, you were the one that had good luck and good fortune after that. And they do a similar thing here with the Galette de Roi, and they put these little, they call them fèves, and they're tiny little china ornaments that if you get that, obviously they stopped it in the UK for a long time because of health and safety, sadly, but they still do it here. And each year there's different themes. It might be a Harry Potter theme, football theme, or whatever, and I think they might even sell different themes, and it's up to you which one you want. And then you just warm it in the oven beforehand. And along with that, generally you have champagne or a fizzy wine, just to bring in the new year and wish everybody a good health, bon santé. So we did that. Lo and behold, I got the first fève, so I wore the crown, because you get to wear the crown. And then I didn't realise it at the time, or I've forgotten, but then choose your king. So there's a second crown. Well, obviously I chose Duncan, so I gave him the other crown, and we all chatting, and I was having a bit of a struggle that day because it was the day after my birthday meal, so I was a little bit tired. So we carried on, we're all chatting and struggling to understand. Duncan's not too bad, he always understands better than me. All of a sudden he'd found another fève. Now there's not usually two in a tart, it's usually one, and I thought it was just a lovely coincidence that both Duncan and I got these fèves, and they got the crowns, and so we get the good luck. And it's bizarre because I don't know if I've already mentioned this in another video, but Sharon bought us this Chinese frog, which is supposed to be for good fortune, and you've got to place it in a certain place, or facing a certain way, anything, a bit like feng shui. So we did all that, and it seemed funny that she's got us that, and when the day she bought it was the same day I won the big prize at the tombola, and now we've just done that, and both of us won that. And then something else happened we got as well. I can't quite, oh that's it, of course, I haven't told you yet, we bought tombola tickets off of Natalie and Leon's granddaughter, and they're raising money for the school, and we usually buy tickets every year. Last year we won if you remember, the go-karting tickets, and we'd got a chance to do go-karting. And this year we've got a message from a neighbour to say, you and Duncan have both got a bag of goodies here, you both won a prize. And I couldn't believe it. The luck was just been really incredible. These bags were mainly containing promotional things like you'd get from a company. They give you like a free pen, and there was a glass in one for the World Cup promotion. It was football glass. Another one was from a breakdown recovery truck company. It was another glass. And there was a pen from a taxi firm, and there was like a little plastic ruler. There was 2 of those for another company. I can't remember which one. Got a hang on. No, it's called a backpack or sac à dos in French for a local shop in Lassay-le-Château. Then there was a painting, which was really nice painting actually. But we haven't really got anywhere for it here. It was too modern for our house. Oh, there's a little pair of earrings, which I've yet to manage to put in my ears. They're a bit awkward mechanism on them. There was a little paper saying that we got a free pony ride at the local equestrian centre in Ombrière-la-Vallée, which we won't really be able to use because it's just not our thing. So I'm likely to give that back to our neighbour Natalie for one of her grandchildren to use. Then there was another leaflet in a little piece of paper in an envelope saying we'd got a free homemade pizza from a local shop, and another boulangerie donated another one which was a piece of paper saying we could have 4 tartlets from the boulangerie. What's another one? So it was those 3. I think that's all it was food wise, but even so, fantastic. So pretty soon I should be going out to the shop and getting a homemade pizza and some tartlets to go with it afterwards. All those carbs that I shouldn't be having, of course. Then last weekend, this Sunday just gone, we had an invite to it's called Le Marie Vaux or something like that. Anyway, it's basically it's an apéro with our local mayor that they do every year, again around the same time as the Galette de Roi, and it's the first time they've managed to have one because of COVID. We've not done it for the last at least 2 years, and it was nice because this time it wasn't where normally would go and there'd be local politicians there and they come up, stand up and give a speech and they thank our mayor for doing his job and all this. This year there was no, as he said, there was pas de politique. It was no politicians or anything this year. It was just our mayor Roger wanting to tell us about things that are happening in the town, and that because our salle de fête has been renewed and rebuilt. If I remember, I'll try and put a picture in. Not that you can really tell because you didn't really know it before, but anybody watching who happened to go to our wedding in 2018 will see the difference between the two. And it was really nice to have the opportunity to go in and see inside, because it was the first time we'd seen it since it was finished. And it was all set up, and they had almost like a slideshow on the wall showing us the progress from the old salle de fête to the new. And there was lots of talking that we didn't understand, and poor Roger Amir had to talk for a long time. And they introduced, we've got new owners for our local bar, so it was nice to hear about that. We've got new owners for our local restaurant, so that's going to be good as well. All these changes, I do like some changes, especially if it's all for the better, obviously. And what else? We had a new we've got a new caretaker in the town as well, because their old one is back. Yeah, it's just nice to go, show your face, show support of the mayor. And we happened to stand with 2 of our neighbours who were fairly new to the town. We chatting with them for a while and had a quick chat with a few of the others. But being as we're the only English, sometimes they're a little bit worried and they're a bit scared of talking to us because they don't know any English. Sadly, because obviously we know more French than they think. And we had almost like a baby champagne glasses, the shallow ones. We had champagne. Normally it'd be Kia, but this year, because it was like the opening for the salle de fête, we had champagne. Very nice too. And these little pastries called, not choucroute, chouquettes or something they're called. They're like little choux pastry with big chunks of sugar all over them. They're just full of air, really. So they come round trying to get you to eat those. And we must have had about 10 each of those. But they're full of air, aren't they? No calories. Yeah, so we had that. While we were sat down listening to them, we were sat with our old neighbour, and he chats away to us. But he's got such a strong patois to his voice, almost like a slang, that we don't always get what he says. Which is sad, really. I mean, he's 92, this neighbour, so he's really set in his ways, and it's hard to get him to speak slow or anything like that. So once that was all over, we walked back with our neighbours and made our way, and the neighbour round the corner just sort of said "à plus tard" or "tout de suite" or something like that, and I went, sort of just nodded and thinking, strange, why? You know, basically she was trying to say "see you later," which was a funny thing. It wasn't just a bonjour. Anyway, we've come back in and we've had dinner and everything, and it's getting on for about 4 o'clock, and I'm just sat down sewing, and all of a sudden the doorbell went, and it just it kept on going and going. And so I said to Duncan, "Who on earth is that?" Because we very rarely get anybody just call by. And Duncan, we thought it was children doing a bit of like knockdown ginger, if you know what I mean, like just keeping the doorbell to go away. But it was going on for a bit too long. So anyway, I went to the door, and it was our old neighbour, the one I just telling you about. I don't know why whether he couldn't hear the bell, I don't know, but it just kept all the time. And I was sort of standing there a bit stunned, thinking, look, you know, I said bonjour, and he said something, and I turned around, and Duncan wasn't there. He'd come back in here to put something down. I turned around and I said, "Duncan," I said, I don't understand. And Duncan said, "I think he's inviting us to go around for a drink. And we've already had this champagne at the Salle de Fête." And so we thought, okay, we'll be there. We're going like 5 minutes. So we both put our shoes on, got a coat on, and went round there, not really knowing what on earth is going on. This is that thing again about the just basic miscommunication and not understanding. And we got there, and in Thierry, who we'd been to the week before, were there as well. And then we see the table was all set up with champagne again, and we're thinking, why are we doing this again? So it was a bit bizarre. And it turns out, apparently, the weekend before, Gaston had invited us to go this weekend, and we didn't get it. I mean, Thierry did say to us, like, "see you next weekend," and we thought he meant the apéros with the Marie. And but no, it turns out he'd invited us, and we hadn't even understood that at all. And it's not like us to not understand an invite for an apéro. But bless them, they'd been sat there waiting for us, and he's come and knocked on the door, and he was, apparently, Duncan said he remembers now, he sort of said, "Was you asleep?" That's why he kept ringing the doorbell. So, anyway, we've sat down, and again, another galette de roi. This time there was no febs in this one. Yeah, so it was quite funny. It was another chat. We're there not even an hour, but we'd had a couple of glasses of champagne with them, and yeah, so we were champagned out again last weekend. But it was just so funny. How did we not understand that? And because it had been Gaston's birthday the Friday before as well, so at first of all we thought maybe it was because of that, but it became clear that it was for another galette de roi, so it was more bon santé. And so what else has happened? Sharon and I have just been for a walk. I had to go to the déchetterie again for Duncan to get rid of some buckets of rubble. He needs the buckets for work. And then we met up with our friend Max and had a walk around the outside of Lassay. It's quite a nice walk. I've got in like just over 7,000 steps, which is great. But before I left, I had to go. Some of you may have seen it. I've got like a weighted hula hoop. I did a video of it recently. Or Sharon and I were both trying it for the first time, which was hilarious. So I've been trying to fit in doing a few like 10-20 minutes of hula hoop, trying to do my bike, which you've seen before as well, and a walk. So every day I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to get fit because, well, obviously I need to be fit, but other than that, we're going on holiday with Sharon to Italy this year, and there's going to be lots of step walking and lots of walking because we're just taking out a backpack and we're going by train and doing a little bit of a tour along that Amalfi coast, and before we're starting in Florence and working our way down to Naples. So we're looking forward to that, but we want to make sure we're fit enough that we're not going to get tired too quick. So we're really looking forward to that. So that'll be in May. Yes, all that's been happening. Talking about holidays, we've got possibly another holiday planned at the end of the year, which I'll tell you about in another video, depending on whether we actually get round to booking it. But it's quite exciting. But also, it's all happening. It's quite nice for January to suddenly have all these things going on. But we've had an an email came through for a repas, like a meal for the school. Again, this hasn't happened. I think I've told you before, it hasn't happened for a few years because of COVID. We've been doing a takeaway meal, which you pick it up and then you heat it up and eat it at home, which we've done a few of those now and I've told you about. But this one now they're actually having at the hall, and they're having a DJ, so they'll be dancing as well. So that's going to be so good to just see people face to face and have a dance and have a laugh. The only downside is I've mentioned to you before about this, that very often you don't start eating till about 10 o'clock at night, so it's quite hard to eat that late. So you've got to starve yourself all day or eat earlier in the day so you don't feel too hungry and that you can still have a drink, because obviously drinks flowing before you start eating. So that'd be a good night. Not this weekend, the weekend after. And then we got another invite, a text come through from our caretaker in the village for another repas, which we've been to a few times as well. And we usually start with a Perros at his sister's house in a town just outside Lasso, which is about 20 minutes from us. That is usually for tripe. I don't know if any of you know tripe, but it's an acquired taste, shall I say, and it's not usually for us. And when he said it's the repas up for the tripe, I just said, is there another option? And they tend to do an assiette anglaise, as they call it, which ends up being basically salad with eggs and stuff and a bag of crisps and that. I mean, it's still very nice, but I don't know why it's called an English plate. The only thing we've ever put it down to is the fact that because whereas the French will eat a plate of meat, a plate of vegetables and so, we have all our meal on one plate, and I think that's what it is. They're just going to put all the salad and meat and everything all on one plate with a bag of crisps. So obviously we're going with that. They do try and get us to try it, and just to be polite, we do try it, but it's not our favourite, and they usually sell wine and that. But it's lovely, as I say, because we have a Perros of drinks at the caretaker's sister's house in the village beforehand. She's got this huge dining table, and quite a few of us usually start off there, and it's nice, and she's lovely, and she works in a local pharmacist, so we've got to know her quite well now. That's in midday. So there's no dancing with that one. So yeah, that's one on the 4th of February and one on the 26th of February. In between that, Sharon's going to see her family for a few days. So it's all happening. And while we're at the Perros, our neighbours across the way said she wants to have us all round for a Perros in February. So busy February as well, which is great, being winter, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's more or less it. I don't think there's much more to report. Duncan's still very busy. He was ill at Christmas, so it's put him a little bit behind, but he's very busy. I've got to go for a blood test because my doctor's just decided that I need to be tested for diabetes. So I'm going to do that soon, trying to organise that. Then beginning of March, I've got my oncology appointment, my 6 monthly oncology appointments to go to as well. So yeah, no doubt I should be telling you all about that, and you can always just fast forward if you don't want to know. Okay then, so I think I'm going to slot in a picture of the little fevs that we won this year, and this year's theme was milk, I think, or dairy, so shall I say. And it was quite sweet, so we always keep them. Yeah, so you see what I'm talking about. Okay, well I'm going to go and have some lunch now. It's getting on quite late in the afternoon, but I do like to leave it as long as I can because it means any fat that's in my body's getting burnt off and eaten. So I shall see you next time. Au revoir.